Assalamu alaikum, dear 10th class students. I am here again with a new topic. My today's topic is the poem When You Are Old, written by William Butler Yeats. Dear students, in this lesson, I am going to teach you the poem, its structure, themes, the moral lesson that we get from the poem, and after that we will read the poem. But before discussing all these things, let's know about the poet of this poem, William Butler Yeats. Dear students, Yeats was born in Dublin, Ireland, and is one of the most celebrated poets in Irish history. Many of his poems reflect the Irish spirit, but this poem concentrates more on the love he once shared with a woman. This woman is Maud Gonne, an Irish revolutionary who ended up marrying another man. Yeats himself would go on to marry, but many see When You Are Old as a poem highlighting the failed relationship with Maud Gonne. After an initial read, many see this poem as one of that is filled with love, but the last stanza is dark. The speaker is reminding his former mistress that their love did not last, and this is something she should regret for the rest of her life. While this is one of Yeats' most popular poems, he wrote many others that were just as successful. As a result, he won the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1923. Dear students, the poem is written in quatrains with rhyme scheme ABBA. The poem can be called an ode. Ode means a poem that is addressed to any particular subject. The entire poem is addressed to Maud Gonne, the poet's beloved. This poem is addressed to Maud Gonne, the poet's beloved. Maud Gonne was an Irish revolutionary who never responded to Yeats' love. This lyric is an expression of Yeats' intense emotions. In this poem, the speaker of the poem dramatizes his unrequited love by offering a future command for the addressee, that is, his beloved, to take down his book of poems and read it. He imagines that his poem will appear in a collection of his published poems. He wants the addressee, after she has become old and grey and full of sleep, to read his poem and think about his love for her. The poet leaves no stone unturned to convince his beloved that he loves her from the depths of his heart. Yeats is not just fascinated by Maud Gonne's physical charms and the external beauty that forms the basis of the lover's passion. The poet's love is above all these parameters. One can genuinely find an elegance of spirituality in this poem. This poem has been taken from The Rose William Butler Yeats' poetic collection that's addressed to Maud Gonne. Now let's discuss the themes of the poem. Dear students, youth is one of the main themes of the poem. Youth is not everlasting. Youth fades away by the passage of time. Aging is another theme of the poem. Everyone experiences this stage of life, and everyone should remember that in future he or she have to experience this stage of life. Love, relationship, and fate are other themes of the poem. Dear students, now let's discuss three more important points, or we can say that three important things that this poem teaches us, or we can say that the message that this poem conveys. The first one is, age shouldn't be spent in sadness and regret. हमें जिंदगी में ऐसे काम करने चाहिए कि हमारा जो बुढ़ापा हो वो फजूल कामों में, दुख में और अफसोस में न गुजरे. हमें अपनी जवानी में ऐसे काम करने चाहिए ताकि हमें अपने बुढ़ापे में मायूसी और शर्मिंदगी का मुकाबला न करना पड़े. दूसरी बात, लव बेस्ड ऑन ब्यूटी अलोन इज अनसस्टेनेबल. इनकी मोहब्बत सिर्फ ब्यूटी पर कायम नहीं है. अगर हमारी मां खूबसूरत नहीं है लेकिन फिर भी मां के साथ हमारी मोहब्बत बहुत गहरी होती है. इसका मतलब है कि लव जो है, मोहब्बत जो है, ये सिर्फ खूबसूरती पर कायम नहीं है. थर्ड वन इज, वी शुड नॉट वेस्ट और गो इन लव. अगर हमारे मकसद में मोहब्बत रुकावट बनकर आ जाए और अगर हमें यह लगे कि मोहब्बत हमें मंजिल तक पहुंचने में रुकावट पैदा करे, तो हमारे लिए सबसे अहम बात यह है कि हमें अपने मकसद में कामयाब होना है, न कि मोहब्बत में. इस पोएम में हमने देखा कि मॉड गून ने विलियम बटलर यीट्स की मोहब्बत का जवाब नहीं दिया, क्योंकि उसका फील्ड जो था, उसका मकसद जो जिंदगी का था वो अलग था, और उसने अपने मकसद के खातिर विलियम बटलर यीट्स की मोहब्बत का जवाब. नाउ लेट्स रीड द पोएम, बट बिफोर रीडिंग let's know the meaning of some new words. The first word is nodding. Nodding is the present participle of nod. It means to incline the head up and down. आमतौर से जब नींद आती है, ऊँग आती है, तो हमारा जो सर है वो आगे की तरफ आता है. अगर हम खड़े बैठे हों तो जब नींद आती है तो हमारा सर आगे की तरफ आ जाता है. That's called nod. लेकिन बच्चे जो होते हैं वो अगर उन्हें हाँ भी कहना हो तो उसके लिए भी वो सर को आगे करते हैं. दैट्स कॉल्ड नॉडिंग. और दूसरा वर्ड जो है, इट्स सॉफ्ट लुक. सॉफ्ट लुक मीन्स ब्यूटी और ब्यूटीफुल स्ट्रक्चर. सेकेंड, नेक्स्ट वर्ड इज ग्लैड ग्रेस. इट मीन्स यूथफुल डेज और यूथफुल ब्यूटी. पिलग्रिम सोल मीन्स प्योर हार्ट. Murmur means to speak softly, weakly, or slowly. And pacer means the distance covered, or we can say speed or velocity. Amid means something that's surrounded by. Now let's read the first stanza of the poem. See page number 81. When you are old and grey and full of sleep, and nodding by the fire, take down this book and slowly read and dream of the soft look your eyes had once and of their shadows deep. The first stanza opens the poem, revealing that our speaker is talking directly to his former love. The first line reads, when you are old and grey and full of sleep. From this line, the reader can derive that he is writing this while his lover is still relatively young. But she should read this again when she is an old woman. The speaker has very specific instructions for his lover. Not only should she read the poem when she is old and grey and full of sleep, but also when she is nodding by the fire. According to the second line, in the third and fourth lines, the speaker tells his former beloved to dream of the soft look her eyes had once and of their shadows deep. In conjunction with rereading the poem, the lover should also remember the beauty she once possessed. यहाँ पे आपने देखा कि विलियम बटलर येट्स अपनी महबूबा से कहते हैं कि in future a time will come when her hair will turn grey, जब उसके बाल सफेद होंगे, and when she will lose all her beauty, और जब उसकी सारी खूबसूरती खत्म हो जाएगी. और वो चाहता है कि उस वक्त वो उसकी किताब पढ़े. कौन सी किताब? द रोज. एंड और उसे आहिस्ता आहिस्ता पढ़े और अपने जवानी के बारे में सोचे कि जब वो बहुत खूबसूरत थी. How many loved your moments of glad grace, and loved your beauty with love false or true, but one man loved the pilgrim soul in you, and loved the sorrows of your changing face. In the second stanza, the speaker reminds his beloved her youth and beauty and the people who loved her physical beauty. Then the speaker changes tracks, referring to the one man who loved the pilgrim soul in you, probably referring himself. Its diction here is worth contemplating, and much has been made of the phrase pilgrim soul. A pilgrim is one who travels for religious reasons. Perhaps he wants to convey the fact that he was as devoted to her as a pilgrim is to his religion. However, one interprets that line, it is safe to say that the speaker is telling his lover that he loved her to the very depths of her soul. The speaker takes this one step further in the final line of the stanza, telling his lover he also loved the sorrows of your changing face, which means he loved her even when her beauty had started to fade. इन लाइनों में शायर अपनी महबूबा से कहते हैं कि जब वो जवान थी तो उस वक्त बहुत सारे लोग थे जो उससे मोहब्बत करते थे, लेकिन जैसे जैसे उनकी खूबसूरती ज़ायल होती गई, वो मोहब्बत करने वाले गायब हो गए, लेकिन वहां पे एक शख्स बिल्कुल मौजूद रहा जो उसके मतलब जिसकी मोहब्बत उसकी सिर्फ ब्यूटी से नहीं थी बल्कि उसके साथ एक रूहानी मोहब्बत थी और उसकी मोहब्बत जो थी दैट रिमेन्ड अनचेंजिंग एंड अनफेडिंग. How many loved your moments of glad grace and loved your beauty with love false or true, but one man loved the pilgrim soul in you and loved the sorrows of your changing face. In the second stanza, the speaker reminds, now third and final stanza, and bending down beside the glowing bars, murmured a little sadly how love fled, and paced upon the mountains overhead, and hid face amid a crowd of stars. These first two lines of the third stanza depict the old woman bending closer to the fire, remembering and regretting. In the 10th line, it uses personification by having love fully like a person would. पोइम की 10वीं लाइन में शायर ने पोइटिक डिवाइस पर्सनिफिकेशन का इस्तेमाल किया है. पर्सनिफिकेशन एक ऐसा पोइटिक डिवाइस है जिसमें हम किसी नॉन ह्यूमन को रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं एज ह्यूमन. यहां पे शायर ने लव को पर्सनिफाई किया है और उसे प्रेजेंट किया है एज ह्यूमन. इन द लास्ट टू लाइन्स it writes that after love fled he paced upon the mountains overhead and hid his face amid a crowd of stars. The last line, and hid his face amid a crowd of stars, contains very beautiful imagery as the reader imagines love hiding between the stars in the heavens. Yeats seems to be telling his lover that while his love for her will always remain, she will be unable to reach it, as one is unable to reach into the heavens and pluck out a star. The tone of the poem changes with this last stanza. While the first two stanzas could be seen as romantic and positive, the loss of the speaker's love in the third stanza changed the tone, which has become full of regret. Dear students, it's enough for today. In next video, I am going to teach you the poetic devices used by the poet in this poem, and we will also discuss the questions that are given at the end of the poem in next video. So stay connected.